Rules and Regulations, Section 808. The Commissioner of Internal Revenue, with the approval of the Secretary of the Treasury, shall make and publish rules and regulations for the enforcement of this title. Sale of stamps by postmasters, Section 809. The Commissioner of Internal Revenue shall furnish to the Postmaster General without prepayment a suitable quantity of stamps, coupons, tickets, books, or other devices prescribed by the Commissioner under Section 807 for the collection or payment of any tax imposed by this title, to be distributed to and kept on sale by all post offices of the first and second classes, and such post offices of the third and fourth classes as 1. Are located in county seats, or 2. Are certified by the Secretary of the Treasury to the Postmaster General as necessary to the proper administration of this title. The Postmaster General may require each such postmaster to furnish bond in such increased amount as he may from time to time determine, and each such postmaster shall deposit the receipts from the sale of such stamps, coupons, tickets, books, or other devices to the credit of, and render accounts to, the Postmaster General at such times and in such form as the Postmaster General may by regulations prescribe. The Postmaster General shall at least once a month transfer to the Treasury, as internal revenue collections, all receipts so deposited together with a statement of the additional expenditures in the District of Columbia and elsewhere incurred by the Post Office Department in performing the duties imposed upon said department by this Act. And the Secretary of the Treasury is hereby authorized and directed to advance from time to time to the credit of the Post Office Department from appropriations made for the collection of the taxes imposed by this title, such sums as may be required for such additional expenditures incurred by the Post Office Department. Penalties. Section 810. A. Whoever buys, sells, offers for sale, uses, transfers, takes, or gives in exchange, or pledges, or gives in pledge, except as authorized in this title, or in regulations made pursuant thereto, any stamp, coupon, ticket, book, or other device prescribed by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue under Section 807 for the collection or payment of any tax imposed by this title, shall be fined not more than $1,000, or imprisoned for not more than 6 months, or both. B. Whoever, with intent to defraud, alters, forges, makes, or counterfeits any stamp, coupon, ticket, book, or other device prescribed by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue under Section 807 for the collection or payment of any tax imposed by this title, or uses, sells, lends, or has in his possession any such altered, forged, or counterfeited stamp, coupon, ticket, book, or other device, or makes, uses, sells, or has in his possession any material in imitation of the material used in the manufacture of such stamp, coupon, ticket, book, or other device, shall be fined not more than $5,000, or imprisoned not more than 5 years, or both. Definitions. Section 811. When used in this title, A. The term wages means all remuneration for employment, including the cash value of all remuneration paid in any medium other than cash, except that such term shall not include that part of the remuneration which, after remuneration equal to $3,000 has been paid to an individual by an employer with respect to employment during any calendar year, is paid to such individual by such employer with respect to employment during such calendar year. B. The term employment means any service, of whatever nature, performed within the United States by an employee for his employer, except 1. Agricultural labor, 2. Domestic service in a private home, 3. Casual labor not in the course of the employer's trade or business, 4. Service performed by an individual who has attained the age of 65, 5. Service performed as an officer or member of the crew of a vessel documented under the laws of the United States or of any foreign country, 6. Service performed in the employ of the United States government, or of an instrumentality of the United States, 7. Service performed in the employ of a state, a political subdivision thereof, or an instrumentality of one or more states or political subdivisions, 8. Service performed in the employ of a corporation, community chest, fund, or foundation, organized and operated exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, literary, or educational purposes, or for the prevention of cruelty to children or animals, no part of the net earnings of which inures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. Title IX. Tax on employers of 8 or more. Imposition of tax. Section 901. On and after January 1, 1936, every employer, as defined in Section 907, shall pay for each calendar year an excise tax, with respect to having individuals in his employ, equal to the following percentages of the total wages, as defined in Section 907, payable by him, regardless of the time of payment, with respect to employment, as defined in Section 907, during such calendar year. 1. With respect to employment during the calendar year 1936, the rate shall be 1%. 2. With respect to employment during the calendar year 1937, the rate shall be 2%. 3. With respect to employment after December 31, 1937, the rate shall be 3%. Credit against tax. Section 902. The taxpayer may credit against the tax imposed by Section 901 the amount of contributions, with respect to employment during the taxable year, paid by him, before the date of filing of his return, for the taxable year, into an unemployment fund, under a state law. The total credit allowed to a taxpayer, under this section for all contributions paid into unemployment funds with respect to employment during such taxable year shall not exceed 90% of the tax against which it is credited, and credit shall be allowed only for contributions made under the laws of states certified for the taxable year, as provided in Section 903, Certification of State Laws. Section 903. A. The Social Security Board shall approve any state law submitted to it within 30 days of such submission, which it provides that 1. All compensation is to be paid through public employment offices in the state, or such other agencies, as the board may approve. 2. No compensation shall be payable with respect to any day of unemployment occurring within 2 years after the first day of the first period with respect to which contributions are required. 3. All money received in the unemployment fund shall immediately upon such receipt be paid over to the Secretary of the Treasury to the credit of the Unemployment Trust Fund established by Section 904. 4. All money withdrawn from the Unemployment Trust Fund by the state agency shall be used solely in the payment of compensation, exclusive of expenses of administration. 5. Compensation shall not be denied in such state to any otherwise eligible individual for refusing to accept new work under any of the following conditions. A. If the position offered is vacant due directly to a strike, lockout, or other labor dispute. B. If the wages, hours, or other conditions of the work offered are substantially less favorable to the individual than those prevailing for similar work in the locality. C. If as a condition of being employed the individual would be required to join a company union, or to resign from or refrain from joining any bona fide labor organization. 6. All the rights, privileges, or immunities conferred by such law, or by acts done pursuant thereto shall exist subject to the power of the legislature to amend or repeal such law at any time. The board shall, upon approving such law, notify the governor of the state of its approval. B. On December 31st, in each taxable year the board shall certify to the Secretary of the Treasury each state whose law it has previously approved, except that it shall not certify any state which, after reasonable notice and opportunity for hearing to the state agency, the board finds has changed its law so that it no longer contains the provision specified in subsection A, or has with respect to such taxable year failed to comply substantially with any such provision. C. If, at any time during the taxable year, the board has reason to believe that a state, whose law it has previously approved, may not be certified under subsection B, it shall promptly so notify the governor of such state. Unemployment Trust Fund. Section 904. A. There is hereby established in the Treasury of the United States a trust fund to be known as the Unemployment Trust Fund, hereinafter in this title called the Fund. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized and directed to receive and hold in the fund all monies deposited therein by a state agency from a state unemployment fund. Such deposit may be made directly with the Secretary of the Treasury or with any Federal Reserve Bank or member bank of the Federal Reserve System designated by him for such purpose.